Good morning, dears. Today we are going to discuss a topic on experimentation and critical thinking in psychology. Psychology as a science is heavily reliant on scientific procedures followed to carry out research in the field. Psychologists use different methods of investigation for psychological research, each with its advantages and disadvantages. Psychological research carried out scientifically has the characteristics of objectivity, where the research is free from any kind of biases. Second one is testable, where the research can be conducted by others to test for authenticity. One can verify its authenticity by following the same method in terms of getting the same result. Third one is replicability. The scientific studies have also the characteristics of replication, which means that the results of study are consistently verified by similar or other studies across different settings. The three goals of scientific enterprise. First one is measurement and description. Figure out ways to measure the subject that is being studied. Second, understanding and prediction. Events can be understood when the reason for the occurrence can be explained. Third, hypotheses or predictions that are made and tested to evaluate understanding. Fourth one is application and control. The information gathered from research findings should apply towards the practical problems. Steps in scientific investigation. Steps 1, make an observation. Step 2, ask an question. Third, test your hypothesis and collect data. Fourth, examine the results and draw conclusions. Fifth, report the results. Methods of psychology. There are 4 basic methods in scientific method. First one is formulating a research question. Second one is developing a hypothesis. Third one is testing the hypothesis. Fourth one is drawing a conclusion. Next one is introspection method. Introspection method means self-observation, that is to look to one's mental state. Introspection allows an individual to check their behavior. For example, a student may ask to solve a problem and then told to describe how he can solve it, how he felt about it, or what thoughts came to in his mind. This is we call this introspection. Next one is experimental method. Experiments conducted outside the laboratory can call field experiment, and those conducted within the laboratory are called laboratory experiments. It is further divided into field experimental method and a laboratory method. Characteristics of experiment methods are variables and control. A variable is an event or condition which can have different values. Ideally, it is an event or condition which can be measured and which varies quantitatively. Variables can be either independent or dependent. Control. It is in experiment is an important that unspecified independent variables are allowed to change. Factors other than independent variables which might be affect the dependent variable must be held constant. Replication. It is important that experiments can be repeated, or in other words replicated. For instance, recitation is an aid to memory by having 2 groups of study something, one with recitation and other without, then measuring the differences in the memory. Next one is placebo effect. Sometimes a person can have the response to placebo. The response can be positive or negative. For instance, a person's symptoms may improve, or persons may have the appears to side effects from the treatment. These responses are known as placebo effect. Next one is observation method. Observation as a method of inquiry is often understood as a systematic registration of events without any deliberate attempt to interfere with variables operating in a mind which is to be studied. There are different types of observation method, or naturalistic observation and systematic observation. Next one is interview method. There are personal interview, structured interview, non-structured interview, focus interview, and telephone interview methods are there. Next one is questionnaire method. A questionnaire consists of number of questions printed or typed in definite order in a form of set of forms. Next one is survey method. Surveys are important research method where a sample of people is chosen to represent a larger group of population is asked a series of questions about the behavior and thoughts. Next one is case study. Case studies methods may be utilized in clinical conditions to identify issues with problems with individuals. In this case, a more clinical approach to data collection is utilized. Next one is clinical method. The clinical method is ordinarily used when people come to psychologists with personal problems. Next one is correlation method. In correlation method, no sets of variables are examined to determine whether they are associated or correlated. Steps in conducting psychological research. First one, we have to study the review of literature, next research question, next empirical study, next one is data analysis, next finally we have to draw conclusion. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks you once again. Thank you.